Hey guys, it's Tana and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to use the Rose Garden stamp set by MFT and we're going to make 2 prayer cards. I don't make a lot of these, so I want to start doing more of them. Now this one was colored off camera with zigs. I did stamp these out and then heat emboss them with clear embossing powder so that I'm not very good at watercolor, so I didn't want my images getting soaked where I didn't want them to be soaked with color. And heat embossing them with clear embossing powder helps me control that. So because I sound a little harsh still, because I caught a cold on top of everything else that was going on, I'm going to put on a little music. This isn't too much watercoloring, but if you wanted to see my process, I just use the 2 colors, the ultramarine and the sap green, and I just keep going in with varying darknesses of those 2 colors to get the shading that I want. But I don't want to torture you with my voice. So we're going to put a little music on here and I'll see you after we're done watercoloring. So that's it for our watercoloring. As you can see, there's not too much detail. That's something I'm going to have to work on. I do like both images, so we're going to use them both. And this is just a piece of gold foiled cardstock that was in Christmas packaging, and I cut out the word prayers, which is an MFT die. There's a stamp set that goes with that, and I'm taking 2 sentiments from that stamp set, and I'm stamping them out on that same gold foiled cardstock, and I'm heat embossing them with Nuvo Superfine Detail Black Embossing Powder. So I'm keeping that flat to my glass mat to try to reduce the warping. And the first one says with love and. So that'll be before the word prayers on one card, and I cannot remember what the second one says. Let's see here. You want to make sure when you're using something like packaging, foiled packaging, you use a lot of anti-static pouch or powder. I rubbed it all off with a cloth afterwards and it all came off. But you don't want any black embossing powder sticking where it doesn't belong. Prayers during this difficult time, I think that says. So we're going to also ink blend 2 different backgrounds for these cards. I didn't want them to just be slapped on the card and that's it. I mean, they are a focal point image, but they needed something in the background, at least I thought they did. So we're going to use, off to the side here I have a just a small Simon Says stamp stencil that came with in a kit with an Easter egg stencil and another stencil that goes with the Easter egg. But this always looked to me like a garden trellis. So that's what I'm going to use it for the first time ever. I'm taking some Weathered Wood Distress Oxide ink. And at first I was just going to go in that one spot and fade it out into the edges of the card. I kind of feel like maybe I should have did that and stuck with my original plan, but I do like it this way too. It's just it was a very small stencil, so it was hard to line it up and make sure that I didn't have a lot of harsh lines. But I did end up with a couple harsh lines where the edges of the stencil had to be matched back up again. So like I said, if I could do it over, or if I would have remade the card, I probably would have went with my original plan of just fading it out. I did try to squirt a little water on there and try to mute out those lines a little bit. I also tried using my blending brush to blend the lines of the trellis out a little bit so that the color lines weren't so harsh anywhere on the card. But like I said, most of it was covered up with the Rose Garden image anyway. So that's what it's going to look like there. And our first one is done after I squirted a little bit of misty. I just did a fine mist. And almost as soon as I put that water on there, I soaked it up with my microfiber cloth. And then I made sure to heat set it with the heat tool. And now we're going to take this stencil from Simon Says Stamp. I'm sorry, I cannot remember the name, so I'll make sure it's listed down below. And I think this is Shabby Shutters. And I just took the edge of this part of the stencil and I moved it around the card panel where I thought that I would want more leaves. And I like the way they both turned out, actually. They really do look like two different cards, even though they're using the same big image. And then I decided that it was just a little too stark white for me, so I went in with, is that Victorian Velvet or Tattered Rose? I think it's Tattered Rose. And I just went around all four edges of the card panel. I didn't want to mix that too much with the green from the leaves. So now we're just going to use 1/4 inch double-sided tape to tack these both down to their card bases. The one with the bright green or the light green leaves in the background is going on a fog card base, Simon Says Stamp fog cardstock. Excuse me. And the second one, I believe, is just going on a normal white card base. My white card bases, I have switched to Joann's 110-pound cardstock. So that's what I use now, and I save my Nina for my very expensive and heavy Copic coloring habit. So I'm going to use my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to glue both of these images down to their card panels to make sure that that stays put. I mean, it's a pretty heavy cardstock, or a watercolor cardstock, so I don't want that going anywhere after the intended person receives it. I did think about playing around with different variations of where I wanted the image to go, but it's just so large, so other than really sticking in one of the four corners or having it hanging off the cardstock, which I really didn't want to do, it would pain me to cut that image in half in any way, shape, or form, at least at the time, so I didn't do that. So I'm going to put I just cut those sentiment strips down and I gave them just a slanted edge on one side, and I'm going to glue the word prayers straight down to the card panel. There's not enough dimension between the card front and the image to pose much of a problem with gluing it down flat. And then I did pop up the sentiment strips with foam tape. I did put the word prayers in 2 different spots on each card. And there you go. Those are our 2 cards for today. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you're enjoying the channel. Make sure to comment below and let me know how you feel. If you have any suggestions for 2020, all the good stuff, let me know it. And there's some videos coming up of the trip that we took to Orlando. So Everybody enjoy. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be aware of all the giveaways and the videos that are coming out. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye for now.